Captain Gustav and the Search for Treasure. Once upon a time, there was a brave pirate captain named Gustav. Captain Gustav was not just any pirate. He was known for his big hat, shiny sword, and a clever mind. He sailed the seas on his ship called the Sea Serpent. One sunny morning, Captain Gustav gathered his crew. They were a group of hardy pirates, all ready for an adventure. "Ahoy, mates!" shouted Captain Gustav. "Today, we are going on a treasure hunt." The crew cheered loudly. They loved treasure hunts. Captain Gustav held up an old map. The map was very special. It showed the way to a hidden treasure on a secret island. "This treasure is hidden deep in the jungle," said Captain Gustav, pointing at the map. "But beware, other pirates want the treasure too. We must be brave and smart." The crew nodded. They were ready for anything. So, they set sail. The Sea Serpent danced over the waves as they traveled across the ocean. The sun shined brightly, and the sea was sparkling blue. After a few days of sailing, they saw a large island in the distance. It was covered in green trees and looked very mysterious. "That's it!" cried Captain Gustav. "That's the island where the treasure is hidden." When they reached the island, they anchored the ship and jumped into a small boat. The crew paddled to the shore, full of excitement. "Let's find that treasure!" shouted a pirate named Jack, who was always ready for adventure. They walked into the jungle. The trees were tall, and colorful birds flew above them. Captain Gustav followed the map carefully. They walked for a long time, climbing over rocks and slipping through bushes. Suddenly, they heard a loud noise. "What was that?" whispered one of the pirates. Captain Gustav raised his hand for silence. Then, from behind a tree, another pirate ship appeared. "Oh no," said Captain Gustav. "It's Blackbeard and his crew." Blackbeard was a fierce pirate who wanted the treasure too. He had a long black beard and a mean look. He shouted to Captain Gustav, "You will not find the treasure, Gustav. It is mine." Captain Gustav stood tall. "We will see about that," he replied bravely. "We'll have a duel." The two captains faced each other in the jungle. The other pirates watched closely. Captain Gustav had his shiny sword ready. Blackbeard drew his sword, and the duel began. They swung their swords back and forth, clashing loudly. Captain Gustav was quick and clever. He dodged and ducked, making Blackbeard miss him a few times. "You cannot defeat me, Gustav," Blackbeard shouted, but Captain Gustav was determined. Just then, Captain Gustav saw a chance. He leapt forward and knocked Blackbeard's sword away. "I have won!" Captain Gustav yelled. Blackbeard was angry but knew he had lost. "You may have won this time, but I will be back," he said as he ran away with his crew. Captain Gustav's crew cheered loudly. "Hooray for Captain Gustav!" they shouted. Captain Gustav smiled and said, "Now let's find that treasure." They continued their journey through the jungle, feeling brave after defeating Blackbeard. Finally, they reached a big rock with a giant X on it. "This is it," Captain Gustav exclaimed. "The treasure must be buried right here." The crew began to dig with shovels in their hands. They worked hard, sweating under the hot sun. After digging for a long time, they heard a loud clunk. Captain Gustav's eyes sparkled. "We found it! We found the treasure!" he shouted. They uncovered a large wooden chest, covered in dirt and vines. With excitement, they opened the chest. Inside were gold coins, sparkling jewels, and shiny treasures from all over the world. "We are rich!" cried Jack, jumping up and down. Captain Gustav grinned from ear to ear. "We did it, crew! We found the treasure together." They filled their bags with gold coins and jewels, feeling very proud. As they made their way back to the ship, they heard a noise again. It was Blackbeard and his crew. They had returned for revenge. "We will take that treasure from you, Gustav," Blackbeard yelled, pointing at the crew. Captain Gustav looked at his crew and said, "Let's show them that we are not afraid. We will fight for our treasure." The two pirate crews clashed once more. There were swords swinging and pirates shouting. Captain Gustav fought bravely, just like a true hero. This time, he had a clever idea. "Let's trick them," he whispered to his crew. They began to pretend they were losing. They fell back and acted scared. Blackbeard laughed. "You cannot win," he shouted, feeling very proud. But then, when Blackbeard thought he had won, Captain Gustav and his crew jumped up. They charged forward, surprising Blackbeard and his pirates. "Surprise!" they yelled. The pirates were confused and scared. "What?" shouted Blackbeard. Captain Gustav fought hard and defeated Blackbeard once again. Finally, Blackbeard and his crew ran away in fear, never to return again. Captain Gustav and his crew cheered and celebrated their victory. "Hooray for Captain Gustav!" they shouted, feeling proud of their bravery. With the treasure safely on the ship, they sailed back home. The sun was setting, painting the sky with beautiful colors. Captain Gustav looked at his crew and smiled. "We have not only found treasure, but we have also learned to be brave and work together," he said. When they returned to their village, everyone was waiting for them. The villagers cheered as they saw the treasure. "Welcome home, Captain Gustav," they shouted. Captain Gustav shared the treasure with his crew and the villagers. They celebrated with a big feast, full of food, laughter, and joy. From that day on, Captain Gustav became a hero in the village. He was known for his bravery, cleverness, and kindness. And every pirate who heard his story knew not to mess with Captain Gustav and his crew. And so, Captain Gustav continued to sail the seas, always ready for new adventures and treasure hunts. He taught everyone that with bravery and teamwork, anything is possible.